There's a lot that goes on with acids and bases, which can make it very daunting. But you just have to remember that they are just common compounds. However, in how they dissociate, they do have different strengths. And then based off that dissociation and the formation of their conjugate acid or base pairs, we can talk about how dangerous or how strong or weak and associate those solutions with the safety of others. Strong acids and bases. These are going to fully dissociate or deionize in water. It's what we call a complete reaction. So you're going to see that forward arrow. When this occurs, so here we have our HCl going into water. When you look, every single HCl compound has dissociated and there's no longer any HCl on the other side. That is that complete dissociation. So every proton is in as hydronium. Every chlorine ion has been released. There is no HCl left behind. When compounds fully dissociate or ionize in water, they take on some new properties. They can conduct electricity. Electricity is the movement of electrons from a positive to a negative end of a battery or line, whatever it happens to be. So electricity is literally the movement of electrons. So you need to have electrons available to conduct. Well, ions are the excess of electrons, being negative anion, or in the positive of the lack of electrons. That will then close the circuit to allow electricity to run. Here we have a battery, and so we've got our anode and cathode in the water. In water, there's nothing to close this circuit to turn on that light bulb. However, what happens is chlorine, because it's negative, is going to physically move towards the positive cathode. The hydrogen, which is positive, is going to physically move to the negative anode. That movement is what closes the circuit and conducts electricity. So now the light bulb is going to turn on, and it's going to be really bright. Weak acids and bases cannot do this as well, as I'll show in the next slide. Also, because these are complete reactions, we are going to get very vigorous reactions. There's going to be a lot more bubbling, gas production, just overall strength because of the amount of ions that are available for those reactions, which is what makes strong acids and bases dangerous, especially to living forms if they are to interact with biological tissues, because they would overreact with said tissues. Weak acids and bases, they are going to partially dissociate in water. So they have a reversible reaction with that forward and backward arrow, which means they can obtain an equilibrium. Because you're not going to get as many ions in solution, they're very weak conductors or have reactions. Here in this image, we have our weak acid. When we go through and look at what's in the water, we still have some of that original acid that remains, and only some of it dissociated. So we have a lot fewer hydrogen ions and then the anion of that acid available. Because of that, it's not going to be able to turn that light bulb on as effectively because there's not as much movement of ions to either of the anode or cathode. That electricity, the conducting test, is very easy to identify weak acids and bases. And we're also going to see weaker reactions because there's not as many ions available for a chemical reaction to take place. Strong acids and bases have very predictable properties because of their complete dissociation. Weak acids and bases have a wide range of properties because it is all determined based off how much dissociation occurs. Where does equilibrium lie within it being dissociated into its ion form? So you have this chart, this dissociation of acids and bases going to their conjugate acid / base. When we dissociate in water, equilibrium will favor the weaker acid or conjugate base because the stronger one wants to stay in solution. So looking at an easy example first. If we have HBr, and we're going to put it into water to ionize. we're going to get H3O plus and Br minus. I'm going to go over to this chart and find where HBr is. So HBr is a strong acid, and it's actually going to undergo complete ionization. So it's not even going to go into equilibrium. But why? So if I go all the way across to its conjugate base, the strength of the acid is so much more than that of the bromine ion that no matter what, that bromine ion is going to stay in solution. It is not going to accept a hydrogen back because it's going to favor the weaker side. So this is a strong acid. This is going to be a weak conjugate base. The weak conjugate base is what is favored. If we do a different one, if we have phosphoric acid, it's going to dissociate into water. It's going to make our hydronium ion and our H2PO4 minus the dihydrogen phosphate ion. So we know this is our acid and this is our conjugate base. Which side is going to be favored in this equilibrium? So going through and finding my phosphoric acid to my dihydrogen phosphate ion. So because phosphoric acid is higher up in the strength, it's going to want to go towards the weaker side. So the conjugate base is going to be weaker, so equilibrium's going to be favoring the formation of that conjugate base. As we come down, like water, so water versus the hydroxide ion has an increasing of that base, and therefore we are going to favor the formation of water over that of the hydroxide ion. What about neutralization reactions? So if you have a weak acid and weak base, you could have a neutralization reaction where it can undergo equilibrium. We are going to have a weak acid of acetic acid, and it's going to react with our weak base, NH3. It's going to form COO minus and NH4 plus. What we want to look for is what makes the weaker acid. All right, so we know that CH3COOH is an acid, and if we go to the other side, NH4 plus is going to be our conjugate acid. So when you have two of these and it's outside of water, you have to look at the acids to determine which one we're going to work with. What I want to do to determine where we're going to lie based off our acid strength, I'm going to find our acetic acid on this chart, and I'm going to find our ammonium ion on this chart. Which one is weaker? The ammonium ion is. Therefore, we are going to favor the formation of the ammonium ion versus that of our ammonia and our acetic acid. To recap, there are two different ways to use this chart. You can use this for the equilibrium for dissociation, taking an acid and putting it into water and seeing what that conjugate base, its conjugate base is in comparison. If you're performing a reaction, you want to look at the acids. It's just easier because the charts for acids are more common. So look at the acid and the conjugate acid, determine where they lie, and it's always going to be towards that weaker acid is where that reaction will be favored.